Hello dear children, welcome you all back to our class for the lesson Sermon at Benares. And this lesson was written by Betty Renshaw Barber. She was born on the year 1927 on September 3. And knowing much about this Betty Renshaw, we'll come to know about that she obtained her Masters of Arts from Mississippi University for Women. And she is a teacher who taught at preschool level for several years. And also she was able to pass her experience on to others by teaching preschool teachers. She is very active in church activities, and we see that she had a huge heart for the Lord and served as Sunday school teacher at the First Baptist Church. She was very active in praying and for supporting and visiting those involved in missionary work. And we see that the lesson Sermon at Benares was taken from the book of Betty Renshaw, from the book Values and Voices. And we see that this Betty Renshaw died on September 3, 2013. And this lesson talks about Gautama Buddha. You know that Gautama Buddha, this Buddha was a philosopher, mendicant, meditator, he was a spiritual teacher and a religious leader who lived in ancient India. He is known as the founder of the world religion of Buddhism, and he is worshipped by most Buddhist school as the enlightened one who has transcended karma and escaped the cycle of birth and rebirth. Here in this lesson, Sermon at Benares, this writer is giving a beautiful picturization of Gautama Buddha's teaching that has great impulse in each and every one of our lives too, because each day, our life is desperate, disappointed, and we are putting ourselves to inhuman dearth. And throughout this message, Buddha was trying to give peace to human mind. So definitely, as a result of that, we see that his preaching has got great values in our lives too. And this Sermon at Benares is a notable sermon of Buddha, which was given or considered as the first sermon. In this sermon, he was also trying to give the importance of maintaining peace in our life. Okay, let's continue the lesson. Gautama Buddha, 563 BC to 483 BC, began life as a prince named Siddhartha Gautama in northern India. At 12, he was sent away for schooling in Hindu sacred scriptures, and 4 years later, he returned home to marry a princess. They had a son and lived for 10 years as befitted royalty. At about the age of 25, the prince, theretofore shielded from the sufferings of the world, while out hunting, chanced upon a sick man, then an aged man, then a funeral procession, and finally a monk begging for alms. This sight so moved him that he at once went out into the world to seek enlightenment concerning the sorrow he had witnessed. So in the first paragraph, we see that Gautama Buddha, who was Gautama Buddha? Or what was the real name of this Gautama Buddha? How he started his life? Everything was very clearly explained here. We see that this Gautama Buddha actually was born in a North Indian royal family as a prince. Okay? And the name of the prince was Siddhartha Gautama. And this Siddhartha Gautama, he was just leading a princely life. And when he was at the age of 12, he was sent to a faraway school to study the Hindu sacred scriptures. Okay? And after that, we see that once he went to study, 4 years later, at the age of 16, he returned back to his palace. And when he came back, he was married to a princess too. So at the age of 16, he came back after his studies of Hindu sacred scriptures. He got married to a princess and they had a son also. And from that time onwards, for the next 10 years, he lived in the royal palace, just enjoying all the facilities and the opportunities as a prince. And we know that the people who lives in palace or in royal family, they were given all fortunate things in life and less chance for understanding what sorrow, disappointment, desperate life is all about. So he never ever experienced any unpleasant experience or situation in life. He didn't know about what sadness is all about, sorrow is all about. every now and then everyone managed to bring happiness to the life of the prince. So just likewise, this Siddhartha Gautama also enjoyed happy life along with his wife and son for 10 years after his education and marriage. Okay, then we see that, then what happened? One day we see that this Siddhartha Gautama, or the prince, he used to go for hunting. So one day as he went for hunting, he happened to see 3 different situations in life. Okay, the one of the situation that he had seen is a sick man. He happened to meet a sick man. He met a sick man, and we see that this situation was something new for this prince. And the next one is, he happened to see an aged man. Okay, aged man here means he may be lonely in life. He may be experiencing great sorrows in life. You know the situation, how aged people suffer. So he also might have seen the same situations with this man. Then, as a third thing that he had seen is a funeral procession. And in this funeral procession, you know that people are very sad about losing someone in life also. And finally, he had seen a monk looking for rams. Looking for rams means just asking for some things, just like money, food, or clothing, something like that. Begging. So, all these sights just moved the life of this Siddhartha Gautama. Or we say that the prince. And that moved him very much. He never thought that people are living in such a desperate condition in life. He might have thought that everyone will be happy like him, like his family. So what he thought is, he wanted to know about real life. He wanted to know what the real situations or realities of life is all about. And these experiences that he had seen in different situations or 4 different situations in life, here seems to be like an eye-opener for this prince, Gautama Siddhartha. So what he did is, he left all his enjoyment and pleasurable opportunities in life. He left the royal palace to seek the higher sense of spiritual knowledge. He wanted to know why this disappointment happens in life. He wanted to know why these people are suffering so much. So he left the palace and he went to seek the higher sense of spiritual knowledge. Okay? Then he wandered for 7 years and finally sat down under a peepal tree, where he vowed to stay until enlightenment came. Enlightened after 7 days, he renamed the tree the Bodhi tree, that is, the tree of wisdom, and began to teach and to share his new understanding. At that point, he became known as the Buddha, the awakened or the enlightened. The Buddha preached his first sermon at the city of Benares, most holy of the dipping place on the river Ganges. The sermon had been preserved and is given here. It reflects Buddha's wisdom about one inscrutable kind of suffering. So what we see here in these paragraphs is, what happened to the life of this Siddhartha Gautama who left the palace? His intention was to seek the higher sense of knowledge with regard to the realities of life. He wanted to cope up with the situation that he had seen in different scenario with 4 different types of people. So what happened here, we see once he left the palace, he wandered for 7 years. He was just moving from one place to another seeking the truth. Okay? And finally, he thought of sitting under a peepal tree. Peepal tree, you might be knowing, that is considered to be one of the sacred trees of Hindu. So, he thought of just spending some time under this peepal tree, and he thought of getting enlightened. He thought of just being there in that place until he get enlightenment. So, when he sat there for days, that is after 7 days, it was said that he got enlightened. Finally, he attained salvation after 7 days, after sitting under this peepal tree. So what happened? He believes that maybe after sitting under this peepal tree, he might have got this enlightenment. So he renamed the tree from peepal tree to Bodhi. Okay, what is that? He renamed the tree as Bodhi. What is the meaning of Bodhi? Bodhi means the tree of wisdom. So sitting under this tree, he got what? Wisdom or enlightenment. So he renamed the tree as Bodhi. Then what happened? Once he got this wisdom, he started teaching and preaching the wisdom that he got. He wanted to share. Okay? And we see that he was also, from that time onwards, known as Buddha. Instead of Siddhartha Gautama, he was known to be as Buddha. What is the meaning of Buddha? Buddha means the awakened or enlightened. Okay? So he was also known as Buddha. This is how he got the name Buddha, because once he was seated under this people tree, he got wisdom and he renamed the people tree as Bodhi, which means the tree of wisdom. And from that time onwards, he went preaching and teaching the wisdom that he received, the enlightenment that he received in his life. So from that time onwards, he was known to be as Buddha. Buddha means what? Awakened or enlightenment. So here we see that in this lesson, we are going to deal with the first sermon that this Buddha had given. And that too in which place? In the city of Benares. That too were the holy river Ganges. People, Hindus believed this Ganges river Ganges as holy. And he gave his first sermon near this river Ganges, that is in the city of Benares. And we see that this first sermon that he had given in the city of Benares has great importance. Okay, even today it has got great importance. Why? Because he just dealt with some inscrutable message. What is that? Inscrutable means something which cannot be understood. Something that people fail to understand in their life. That is a kind of suffering. What is that kind of suffering that we are going to deal with is coming. Okay? And here we see that this sermon is considered as famous and it has importance till date. And here he was just giving a new perception about human suffering and pain through his sermon. Okay? We all just accept the fact that we are disappointed. But we are not ready to overcome this situation in our life. And the first sermon of Siddhartha Gautama, who is known as now Buddha, he gave his first sermon in the city of Benares, that too near river Ganges. And he was dealing with about inscrutable kind of suffering. The suffering that we fail to understand really. Okay? And that is what it is given in this. Okay, so in the next paragraph, Kisa Gautami had an only son and he died. In her grief, she carried this dead child to all her neighbors, asking them for medicine, and the people said, "She has lost her senses. The boy is dead." At length, Kisa Gautami met a man who replied to her request, "I cannot give the medicine for the child, but I know a physician who can." The girl said, "Pray tell me, sir, who is it?" And the man replied, "Go to Sakyamuni, the Buddha." So here, the first sermon at Benares, Buddha is trying to give a message, especially concerning a lady named Kisa Gautami. And this Kisa Gautami, she had a son and her son recently died. So because of the unending pain, she thought of carrying her child in her arms. She moved from one place to another asking for medicine. And she took her son from one house to another requesting for a wonder drug that could heal the child. She wanted to get her son alive, back to life. And everyone who had seen this child said, "It's not of any use. The baby is dead." And some said that she lost her sense. Some tried to make her understand that the boy is dead. And finally, she met one man. And what that man said, he said, "I don't have any medicine with me, but I can help you to see a physician who can cure your son's disease, or who can help your son back to life." Lady asked, "Please tell me who that man is." She was very eager to meet this person. And he said, "It's Sakyamuni. You can go and meet Sakyamuni Buddha." Okay? And we see that filled with hope, the lady went to meet this Gautama Buddha and to beg him to cure her child. Here we see that the next paragraph, Kisa Gautami repaired to the Buddha and cried, Lord and Master, give me the medicine that will cure my boy. The Buddha answered, I want a handful of mustard seed. And when the girl in her joy promised to procure it, the Buddha added, the mustard seed must be taken from a house where no one has lost a child, husband, parent or friend. So what happened? This Kisa Gautami went to meet this Buddha. Once she reached Buddha, she asked for a medicine that cure her son's disease. So listening very clearly to this Kisa, we see that Buddha said one thing. What is that? She came there near this Gautama Buddha with great hope that she would soon get her son back. And now this Lord Buddha just gave a condition. Okay, I'll just give your son back to life. But you have to do one thing. What is that? You have to bring a handful of mustard seed. You know that mustard seed is a small one used for tempering this curries and all. Okay? So you have to bring a handful of mustard seed. And there is one condition. When you bring the mustard seed, you have to collect it from a house where no one is dead in that family. Like a child, husband, wife, friend, parent, father, mother. No one should die from that family. And from such a house, you have to collect what? A handful of mustard seed. Anyhow, this Kisa Gautami was very happy about it. Poor Kisa Gautami now went from one house to house and the people pitied her and said, Here is mustard seed, take it. But when she asked, Did a son or daughter, father or mother die in your family? They answered her, Alas, the living are few, but the dead are many. Do not remind us of our deepest grief. And there was no house, but some beloved one had died in it. So when Kisa went for mustard seed, asking from one house to another, everyone was ready to give. But at that time, Kisa Gautami asked, Are you sure that no one in your family died? Then they would say that, why you are asking like this? We could say that only very few people are alive here. So many died from our family. Then she says, No, I don't want mustard from your from your house. Because the condition is, don't take mustard seed where a person is dead in that family. So wherever she went, asking for mustard seed, she could not get a handful of mustard seed from a house where no one is dead. She finally feels so tired. She was now worried. She was sure that she is not going to get a handful of mustard seed. And she is now filled with the greatest grief. She just finds it very hard. In all the houses, at least there will be one beloved who had died and gone from their life. And many people just asked her not to remind them of their deepest grief. Whenever Kisa Gautami just asks whether anyone is dead in your family, has died in your family, this is that you are just reminding us of our beloved ones who are died and gone. Okay? She couldn't satisfy the condition given by Gautama Buddha. Okay? Then Kisa Gautami became very weary and hopeless and sat down at the wayside watching the lights of the city as they flickered up and were extinguished again. At last the darkness of the night reigned everywhere, and she considered the fate of men, that their lives flicker up and are extinguished again. And she thought to herself, How selfish am I in my grief? Death is common to all, yet in this valley of desolation there is a path that leads him to immortality who has surrendered all selfishness. So now finally, becoming so tired, terrible, she lost all her hope, because she was now sure that she is not going to get a handful of mustard, walking from one house to another. At last she was just so worried, sat down under the street light. She was just looking, and by the time she could see that the street light just flickers and just extinguish. So this time she realized that yes, when darkness just covered all over the place, when the light has lost its power, she realized that yes, this is how human life is all about. It flickers and extinguishes all of a sudden. And immediately she understood that this is the same thing that happens in the life of human beings. Human beings, their fate is compared to the life of these lights. It flickers and it goes. Likewise, human beings live for some time and all of a sudden they also end their life. Their life is also just comes to an end. And then darkness is covered all over the place. She realized a particular thing, that death is common, or this is an inevitable fact. And now she is slowly and steadily trying to realize the mistake she had. She was searching for something that was lost, that could not be regained. When her child, the only child, was dead, she was deeply in grief and she wanted to bring her son back to life. She failed to understand that this is the fate of human being, that human beings are mortal and they need to face death once they are born. And here, looking at the lights, she realizes that the fact that man can attain immortality only when he or she surrenders the selfish attitude. In this context, Kisa Gautami is a selfish lady who wanted to bring back the joy of her life. She was not ready to accept the fact that her son is dead. So that's why she says that I have become so selfish. I made myself trying to get back my son back to life, and I didn't realize that this is a mortal human being, that once they need to face what? Death in life. Then finally Buddha said, the life of mortals in this world is troubled and grief and brief and combined with pain. For there is not any means by which those who have born can avoid dying. After reaching old age, there is death. Of such a nature are living beings. As ripe fruits are early in danger of falling, so mortals when born are always in danger of death. As all earthen vessels made by potter end in being broken, so is the life of mortals. Both young and adult, both those who are fools and those who are wise, all fall into the power of death. All are subject to death. So in this message, this Gautama Buddha was trying to make Kisa Gautami understand that this is a part of human suffering. You have to tolerate the death of human beings. And he was trying to teach the people that life is a mix-up of sadness, pain and suffering. Even if we are wise, even if we are foolish, even if we are young, even if we are old, even if we are rich, even if we are poor, every human being should face death in their life. If you are born on this earth, you have to face death. That is unavoidable. That is inevitable in life. Especially the people who are grown older. These older people are compared to the ripe fruit. At any moment of time, it can fall. And also we see that this Gautama Buddha is comparing human life with a pot which is made by a potter. This pot will not last longer. At any moment of time, it may fall down, it can be broken. A ripe fruit, at any moment of time, it can just fall down. So likewise, human people are all subjected to death. Even if you are old, even if you are young, even if you are a child, it doesn't matter. So, any time, death can happen in one's life. So, Buddha is trying to make people understand that you need to realize this fact in life. Of those who overcome by death depart from life. A father cannot save his son, nor kinsmen their relation. Mark, while relatives are looking on and lamenting deeply, one by one mortals are carried off like an ox that is led to slaughter. So the world is afflicted with death and decay. Therefore the wise do not grieve, knowing the terms of the world. So what this Gautama Buddha from his wisdom was trying to make people understand the fact that death cannot be avoided, So better try to cope up with the situation. And says that if you die, you may be sure that your friends, your relatives, everyone will cry for you. But one thing is there, their cry cannot bring you back to life. No one can support another person. A father cannot save his son from death. A mother cannot save her daughter from death. A relative cannot save his relatives from death. No one can support, no one can save another person from death. It was just like death comes and takes a person and goes away, just like an oxen is being taken for getting it slaughtered, killed. At any moment of time, death can approach your life. So what Gautama Buddha was trying to teach people is, don't get lamented. Lamented means weep over the dead ones. This is a part of nature. This is the rule of nature. So one who realizes that this is a part and parcel of life, they will not weep. Because your weeping will do no good at all. It cannot save. It cannot bring back the dead ones to life. It's nature's rule that once you are born, will someday perish. Someday you will die. So wise people will not weep. They will not lament. Okay? And then we see that not from weeping, not from grieving will anyone obtain peace of mind. On the contrary, his pain will be the greater and his body will suffer. He will make himself sick and pain, yet the dead are not saved by lamentation. He who seeks peace should draw out the arrow of lamentation and complain and grieve. He who has drawn out the arrow and has become composed will obtain peace of mind. He who has overcome all sorrows will become free from sorrow and be blessed. Finally, in here we see that Gautama Buddha was trying to teach man to be honest in life, to maintain peace in mind. Grieving or sorrows will only cause pain in body and mind. When you are crying, that will adversely affect your physical body and will bring a lot of disease in your life. You will be weak, you will be tired. You can't keep the courage or strength of your mind. So once you try to understand the fact that death is also a part of life, there is nothing for you to weep over. You have to accept the reality and truth of life. By mere lamentation, no one can be saved back to life. And how you can overcome this sorrow and desperate situation is to obtain peace in your mind. Try to regulate your mind by teaching your mind that this is a part of life. The ultimate way to attain salvation is through peace. So, through the story of Kissa Gautami, Buddha was trying to make people understand that death is a part of life. Suffering is a part of life. Pain is a part of life. If you just cry over, if you just bring back pain again and again, that will adversely affect your body and your mind. So, try to realize and admit the fact that death is inevitable. Once you understand likewise, wise men will not cry. They will understand and accept the fact that this is a part of life. Then only you will get ultimate salvation and then only you will be blessed. This is the first sermon of Gautami Buddha in Benares. I hope you understood the lesson well. Read 2-3 times and try to gather up the main content. Okay? Thank you, students. Have a great day. God bless you.